My mother-in-law and I were traveling together. We just checked into the Celine Hotel in Rivera City and decided to hit the pool. Then this woman dressed like money and attitude pinched her nose like we stink. This is a luxury hotel. How did you people even get in? Sneak in just for the pool? I need a test after this buzzkill. I snapped. It's a hotel pool. Guess swim. If that's a problem, go build your own. Her face twisted. Excuse me, do you even know who I am? My husband owns this place. Always stay in the top suite. So get out. Eureka, broke. You're contaminating the water. Georgina and I traded a look. Ice cold. This was her son's hotel. My husband's. Since when did he come with a second wife? Georgina and I were supposed to stay low-key. No names, no dramas. That plan out the window. So much for a chill afternoon. Georgina, who's been running the show her whole life, didn't even flinch. And who do you think you are? Barking orders? Only thing that reeks here is your attitude. The woman looked like she might combust. But Georgina didn't even give her the time of day. She turned to me, Vera, let's swim. She's not worth it. When we get back, I'll go with you to ask Derek what the hell's going on. That hit a nerve. Being ignored. Not her vibe. Her face went tomato red. Then she grinned cool you. You love the water so much. Stay in it. Don't come out. Then she pulled out her phone and made a call. A guy rushed over way too eager. Rosalie, what's up? You want a swim lesson or something? She pointed straight at us, smiling like a straight-up villain. Dimitri, teach these clueless women a lesson. He got it instantly. Relax. I'm a swim coach. I know exactly how to mess with people in the water. He dove in before we could blink. He shoved Georgina's head under. She was older, no match for his strength. She started choking, fighting hard to get up. I panicked and lunged at him, but he was faster. Suddenly, I was underwater too, gagging on chlorine and fear. I grabbed his arm and bit down hard. He let go. Finally, I yanked Georgina up fast. She was coughing like crazy, eyes rolling, chest heaving, gasping like she couldn't breathe. This woman built the Celine Hotel empire from the ground up. People snapped to attention when she walked in. Now here she was dragged through pool water like nothing. Georgina barked. You could have killed someone. You're insane. My lawyers will bury you. Rosalie just laughed. So what? Drop dead? My husband owns hundreds of hotels. What he makes in a day could buy your entire sad little bloodline. Lawyers, please. You even got one. This was one of the hotels Georgina had handed Derek to manage. And Rosalie, she acted like she ran the whole empire. My stomach flipped. Did Derek seriously have a second wife? I rubbed Georgina's back trying to study her, then looked Rosalie dead in the eye. Your husband, his name? Derek Hart. She tilted her chin, all smug. That's right. At least you know who you're dealing with. Now if you get on your knees, say sorry and scrub this pool clean, maybe I'll let you off easy. If not, wait till he gets here. You'll regret it. My chest went numb. Derek, the man who promised forever. Had he really done this? Then I saw it. The rose tattoo on her collarbone. Same one Derek had on his ABS. He said he got it because I loved roses. What a freaking joke. Back then, I was touched. Thought it meant something. Never realized it was a matching couple tattoo with a side chick. If we hadn't crossed paths today, I'd still be clueless. Totally in the dark while he played house with someone else. Fatter I got, the colder I sounded. I sliced right through her smug little act. What's your last name? 'Cause Derek's wife. Her last name is Windsor. And surprised she doesn't look like you. You're the side chick, babe. Yet here you are, loud and proud. No shame at all. Go ahead, call Derek. I'm dying to see how he plans to make us pay. Rosalie flinched at the word side chick like I'd slapped her. Her voice sharpened. There's no such thing as first come, first served in love. The one he doesn't love. That's the real side chick. My husband's coming to see me today. I'll have him come right now. Just wait. She dialed him up. Voice flipping to syrupy. Sweet Derek. When are you coming? I'm at the hotel pool, and these two old women are picking on me. I'm so scared all alone. Come protect me, okay? And from now on, make sure the pool's just for me. I've got some fun new tricks to show you in the water. Saving them just for you. She hung up, glowing like she just won something. He'll be here in 30. You're done. He's got plenty of ways to handle trash like you. Meanwhile, I was trying not to puke. Derek had looked me in the eye, swearing he'd never hurt me while sneaking around with this. Georgina caught my face and knew. Her jaw tightened. Derek, just like his father, everything I gave him, I can take it all back. She despised cheaters. Years ago, she dumped Derek's dad after he ran off with some model, built her empire while raising Derek solo. And now the son she raised ended up just as low. A total disappointment. Georgina still owned over 100 hotels. Sure, she let Derek manage a few, but the real power's still hers. As for me, I married into the Hart family because my background actually matched his. I wasn't some nobody. I seriously couldn't wait to hear Derek try to spin this right. Then I saw it. Georgina's face had gone pale. I grabbed her and guided her toward the ladder, trying to get her out. But Rosalie lifted her hand. Dimitri jumped onto the edge and kicked Georgina mid-climb. She slammed back into the water. I scrambled to pull her up again. Rosalie stood there laughing. You two look like a pair of old ducks flapping around. Don't you love swimming? Then stay put. She turned to Dimitri. Don't let them out until my husband shows. Dimitri nodded like some loyal puppy. You got it, Rosalie. I'll keep him in. Just say something nice to Mr. Hart for me. No matter how many times we tried to climb out, Dimitri kicked us right back in. We were running out of steam. Georgina clutched her chest, gasping, too breathless to talk. I held her up and shouted at the edge, panic ripping out of me. Are you trying to kill someone? My mother-in-law has a heart condition. Let us out now, or when Derek gets here, you'll regret this. Mayatri hesitated and glanced at Rosalie. She laughed it off. You old ladies love playing pretend. Heart condition. You were swimming just fine a second ago. Then she waved at him. Turn off the pool heat. Let's see how long she keeps faking. My temples pounded from how bold she was. If someone dies, the cops won't let any of you walk away from this. Think this is a game. She took a slow sip of her red wine, smug as ever. Quit the act. If you want to get out, beg me. Weren't you all tough a minute ago? What now? Shaking. 'Cause my husband's on his way. Georgina was already weak from her heart condition. After all the choking and rage, he looked totally wiped, barely holding on. I bit down hard on my lip. No way was I letting Georgina be in danger. As long as I could keep her safe, I would endure it for now. I was about to speak when Georgina gripped my arm. Her voice shook. I've never bowed to anyone in my life. And I'm not starting with trash like her. I can still hang on. When Derek gets here, he's dead to me. Don't worry. I've been burned by men before. I'm with you. Rosalie's smile vanished when we still wouldn't beg. Her eyes went cold. He snapped at Dimitri. Go grab 2 buckets of ice from the kitchen. Let's cool them off. He dumped them in. Minutes later, the water turned freezing, and I was already shaking like crazy. Georgina's lips were turning purple. She was slipping fast. I slapped her face. Nothing, barely a twitch. Holding my breath, I dragged her toward the edge. But Dimitri kept shoving us back with a pole over and over. I lost it. My throat burned as I screamed, eyes stinging. She's about to die. Let her out. If anything happens, this hotel's going down with you. When Derek shows up, he won't let this slide. Dimitri finally froze. Swim coach or not, he saw the danger in her face. He rushed to Rosalie, panicked. Rosalie, she seriously doesn't look okay. Maybe let her out if she dies in the pool. Ugh, that's a whole mess. And Mr. Hart probably doesn't want a body on his hands. If he flips, I'm out of a job. Rosalie paused, then scoffed. So now you're scared about your job? I never meant to kill anyone. Some people are just too stubborn. I said I'd think about it if they begged. They're not dying yet. I want to see how long they can last. Dimitri puffed up beside her, feeding off her power. Let me introduce her properly. This is Rosalie Tucker, Mr. Hart's woman. This whole hotel exists to serve her. Everything bends to her. You shouldn't have been let in today at all. If you want to live, you'd better start begging. Do it right. Otherwise, no one's saving you. I bit down so hard on my lip, I tasted blood. Georgina looked barely conscious. I let my pride burn out and dropped my dignity. Please let my mother-in-law out first. She has a heart condition. She's really going to die. Rosalie smirked, loving every second. Didn't you just call me a shameless side chick? Say it again. Say Vera Windsor is the side chick, and I'm Derek's wife. Then maybe I'll consider. She was clearly obsessed with that title, jealous of a woman she'd never even met. Too bad for her. And I was Vera. She had no clue. She was forcing that name into the dirt right in front of me. I clenched my fists, nails digging in, swallowed hard. Then I said it slow and bitter. Vera Windsor is the side chick. You're Derek's wife. Is that enough? Let my mother-in-law out now. She gave me a sly little smile. I said I'd consider it. And guess what? I have. I changed my mind. You're staying right where you are. I wanted to burn holes through her with my stare. No more playing nice. She's Derek's mom. I snapped. If anything happens to her, Derek's gonna make you pay when he shows up. Rosalie laughed, sharp and mean. Wow, you'll really say anything. I heard you. You said she was your mother-in-law. So how'd she magically turn into Derek's mom? She sneered. You wrecked my day. I'll make sure you remember this next time you go out. Bring your eyes. Regina shook in my arms, barely breathing. Her heart condition was spiraling. She needed her fast-acting meds now, or she'd die. My eyes burned as I screamed, "Help! Please, someone help us. She's dying." The pool deck stretched out, silent and empty. No one came. Even Dimitri started to panic. "Rosalie, what if she cut him?" "Off ice cold. Relax. Old people are tougher than you think. She's faking it. My husband's on his way. Let them stay a few more minutes." If something was going to happen, it already would have. She was wrong. Missed the rescue window by even a minute and Georgina would die. Despair crushed my chest right then. The hotel manager rushed over. I screamed until my throat burned. "Help, she's having a heart attack. Get her out now. Call an ambulance." He'd seen Georgina years ago, but didn't recognize her anymore. One look at her state made him panic. He'd come over to suck up to Rosalie after hearing the commotion, not expecting things to turn deadly. He hesitated, offend Rosalie or risk a death on his shift and lose his job. Finally, he turned on a polite smile. "Miss Tucker, maybe let them out of the pool first. If something really happens, this pool won't be usable anymore." Rosalie flicked him a look. All arrogance. "Fine. Since you're asking, I'll let them out." The manager waved Dimitri over. And he dragged Georgina and me out of the pool. She lay there, completely still. I didn't even stop to breathe. Just sprinted to the locker room, grabbed my bag, and ran back. Hands shaking, I dumped out her fast-acting heart pills and moved to get them into her mouth. Rosalie kicked the bottle, pills and all, straight into the pool. The next second, Rosalie spun toward the entrance, lighting up. "Derek, you're finally here." Rosalie practically sang, her voice echoing off the tile. She strutted toward the entrance, throwing her arms wide, her hips swaying. These crazy women have been terrorizing me all afternoon. I had to have security deal with them. Footsteps. Heavy, confident, expensive leather clicking against the wet tiles. I didn't look up. I couldn't. Adrenaline hit my bloodstream like battery acid. I left Georgina's limp body on the cold deck and dove straight back into the freezing water. The shock of the cold seized my lungs, but I kicked down, my eyes burning against the chlorine. Down, down, toward the bottom drain where the orange bottle was settling. My fingers scraped the rough bottom of the pool. I snatched the bottle, my chest screaming for air, and burst to the surface. As I broke the water, gasping, the scene on the deck had shattered into total chaos. Derek wasn't hugging Rosalie. He was standing about 10 feet away from Georgina, paralyzed, his custom Italian suit suddenly looking like a cheap costume. The smug, arrogant stride had vanished. His face was the color of ash. "Mom," his voice cracked. It didn't sound like the powerful CEO I married. It sounded like a terrified little boy. Then, his eyes locked onto me as I hauled myself out of the water, coughing up pool water, the pill bottle clutched in my bleeding fingers. "Vera?" Rosalie blinked, her smile faltering, her hands frozen midair. "Mom? Derek, what are you talking about? That's just some crazy old hag who snuck in. Shut the fuck up." Derek roared, his voice tearing through the room. He shoved past her so hard she lost her footing and tumbled onto a lounge chair. He lunged toward us, falling to his knees beside Georgina. He reached out with shaking hands. Mom, wake up. Jesus Christ, what happened to her?" I didn't hesitate. I backhanded him across the face. The crack echoed louder than Rosalie's earlier laughter. Derek recoiled, a red mark instantly blooming across his cheek, but I didn't give a damn. My hands were shaking violently as I pried the cap off the wet bottle, shaking 2 pills into my palm. I forced Georgina's jaw open and slipped them under her tongue. "Call a fucking ambulance." I screamed at the manager, who was currently staring at Derek in horrified realization. "If she dies, I will personally see to it that every single person in this room rots in a federal prison. Move." The manager finally snapped out of his stupor, fumbling his walkie-talkie, screaming for a medic and an EED. Derek stared at me, his eyes wide, his breathing frantic. "Vera, please tell me she's okay. What did you do? Why are you here?" "Get away from her," I hissed, my voice dropping to a venomous whisper. I positioned myself between his mother and him. "Don't you dare touch her. You lost that right about 30 minutes ago." "Vera, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly, Derek," I snarled, my eyes darting to the rose tattoo peeking out from beneath Rosalie's wet swimsuit strap. She was still sitting on the lounger, her face pale, finally doing the math in her hollow head. "I understand that your side piece just kept your mother in freezing water until her heart gave out, all while your lapdog swim coach kicked us back in. Did you teach her that trick? Is that part of your new portfolio?" Derek's head snapped toward Rosalie, then to Dimitri, who was currently trying to back away toward the exit, looking like he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. "You did what?" Derek's voice was barely a whisper, vibrating with a terror I had never heard before. I didn't know. Rosalie stammered, her syrupy voice completely gone, replaced by a reedy, desperate whine. Derek, I swear. She didn't say who she was. She was disrespecting me. I was just defending your honor. Defending my honor? Derek stood up, his fists clenched, so tight his knuckles were white. You nearly killed my mother. The double doors burst open. Paramedics rushed in, followed by 3 hotel security guards. They shoved Derek aside, getting to work on Georgina instantly. An oxygen mask went over her face. Chest compression started. Every time the paramedic pressed down on her fragile chest, a piece of my heart shattered, replaced immediately by cold, hard rage. She's in VFib. Charging. One of the medics shouted. Clear. Georgina's body jerked. I fell to my knees, sobbing, grabbing her cold hand. Come on, Georgina. You don't let trash like this take you out. You built an empire. Don't let him have it. Got a pulse. It's weak. We need to move, now. They hoisted her onto the gurney. I grabbed my bag, dripping wet, ignoring the freezing air conditioning against my soaked skin. Derek moved to follow us. I'm coming with you. I turned, putting a hand flat on his chest, stopping him dead. I looked him dead in the eye. If you get in that ambulance, I will throw myself out the back doors. You are not her son right now. You are the reason she is dying. Vera, she's my mother. And I am your wife. I screamed, the raw power of it silencing the entire pool deck. Your wife. The one whose family backed yours when you were struggling. The one who believed your lies. I pointed a shaking finger at Rosalie, who was now crying hysterically. You stay here with your trash. Because when I am done making sure Georgina breathes, I am coming back to burn your pathetic life to the ground. I spun around and sprinted after the gurney. As the ambulance doors slammed shut, I caught one last glimpse of Derek. He was standing in a puddle of water, surrounded by his terrified staff and his sobbing mistress, looking at the total destruction of his life. The hospital waiting room was sterile, freezing, and smelled of bleach. 3 hours had passed. I had changed into some oversized scrubs a sympathetic nurse gave me. My phone buzzed constantly. Missed calls from Derek, texts pleading for me to talk to him. I blocked his number. Instead, I made 2 calls. The first was to my father. My family didn't own hotels. We owned the banks that financed them. The Windsor name commanded Wall Street. When I told my father what happened, the silence on the line was more terrifying than screaming. Are you hurt, Vera? He asked quietly. No. But Georgina is. I'll make the calls. By sunrise, Derek Hart won't be able to buy a cup of coffee without my permission. I love you. The second call was to Georgina's lead counsel, Richard. He was a shark in a 3-piece suit who had been loyal to Georgina since she divorced Derek's father. I gave him the short version. I'll be there in 20 minutes, Richard said. Keep her stable, Vera. I'll prepare the injunctions. The ICU doors finally swung open. A doctor with exhausted eyes walked toward me. I stood up, my knees trembling. Mrs. Hart, he asked. Windsor. I corrected automatically. How is she? She's a fighter, the doctor sighed, offering a small, reassuring smile. The hypothermia exacerbated her arrhythmia, and the stress put her into cardiac arrest. But the fast-acting nitroglycerin you managed to give her before we arrived bought her the window she needed. She's awake. Weak, but awake. And incredibly stubborn. She's demanding to see you. I let out a breath. I felt like I had been holding for hours. Thank God. I followed the doctor into the intensive care unit. Georgina looked tiny in the hospital bed, surrounded by monitors and 4 drips, her usually perfectly styled hair plastered to her forehead. But her eyes were like chipped flint. They locked onto me as I walked in. Vera. Her voice was a raspy whisper. I'm here. I sat by her bed, taking her hand carefully. I'm so sorry, Georgina. I should have. Don't you dare apologize, she croaked, squeezing my hand with surprising strength. You fought for me. You saved my life. She closed her eyes for a moment, taking a labored breath. When she opened them, the matriarch who built a billion-dollar empire from nothing was fully present. Where is he? I banned him from the ambulance. He's probably pacing the lobby downstairs. Good. Georgina turned her head slightly. My phone. Get my phone. Georgina, you need to rest, the doctor said. Vera. Her tone left no room for argument. My heart may be weak, but my brain is working perfectly. I divorced my husband for a blonde with long legs and empty eyes. I will be damned if I let my son keep my life's work while doing the exact same thing to a woman like you. I reached into her plastic belongings bag and handed her the phone. She dialed a number from memory. Richard. Yes, I'm alive, she rasped. I need emergency motions filed. Derek is out. Immediate suspension as CEO pending an ethics and criminal investigation. Revoke his signing authority. Freeze the Hart Family Trust. Every hotel, every asset, every account. Starve him. She listened for a moment, a grim smile touching her pale lips. I don't care if it crashes the stock tomorrow. I'll rebuild it. He gets nothing. And Richard? Find out who the woman is. Rosalie something. Turn her life inside out. She hung up and dropped the phone onto her chest, exhausted. She looked at me, her eyes softening. He doesn't deserve you, Vera. Just like his father didn't deserve me. Do what you need to do. I won't stop you. In fact, I'll help you bury him. My father is already pulling his credit lines, I told her softly. Georgina actually chuckled, a dry, rattling sound. Good. The Harts and the Windsors, we're going to teach that boy a lesson about loyalty. While Georgina recovered over the next 3 days, the world outside her hospital room burned. Derek had tried to visit the hospital over a dozen times. Security, paid directly by Richard under Georgina's orders, physically bar him from the floor. He tried to use his status, shouting that he was the CEO of Celine Hotels, only to be handed a legal summons by a process server right there in the lobby. The emergency board meeting was swift and brutal, with Georgina voting by proxy through Richard and the Windsors threatening to pull all financial backing. The board voted unanimously to oust Derek. He was stripped of his title, his company car, his corporate cards, and his access to the headquarters. But I wasn't done. On the 4th day, I finally agreed to meet him. Not at our shared penthouse, but at my lawyer's office in downtown Rivera City. When I walked into the conference room, Derek looked like a ghost. He had lost weight. He hadn't shaved. The custom suit was gone, replaced by a rumpled button-down. He jumped up from the table as soon as I entered. Vera, thank God. They won't let me see Mom. They won't even tell me if she's okay. He reached out to grab my hands, but my lawyer, a sharp woman named Eleanor, stepped between us. Sit down, Mr. Hart, Eleanor commanded. I took my seat across from him, my posture perfect, my face a mask of absolute indifference. She's alive, Derek. No thanks to you. Vera, you have to listen to me, Derek pleaded, his voice cracking. Rosalie was a mistake. A stupid, meaningless mistake. I met her at a bar in Miami 6 months ago. It was purely physical. I don't love her. I didn't even know she was at the hotel that day. I just let her stay there to keep her quiet. Keep her quiet? I laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. Derek, she has a matching rose tattoo on her collarbone. She calls herself your wife. She had the entire staff of the Celine bending over backward for her, to the point where they were willing to watch 2 women drown because she asked them to. That doesn't happen with a meaningless mistake. That happens when you give a nobody absolute power and a black card. I cut her off. Derek shouted, tears welling in his eyes. I swear to God, Vera. The second the ambulance left, I threw her out. I fired the manager. I fired Dimitri. I'm pressing charges against them. No, you aren't, I said coldly. Because you have no authority to fire anyone anymore. Georgina already did. Dimitri was arrested yesterday for aggravated assault and reckless endangerment. The manager is under investigation for criminal negligence. And Rosalie. I slid a manila folder across the table. Derek stared at it, trembling. What is this? That is a civil suit from the Celine Corporation against Rosalie Tucker for fraud, embezzlement, and property damage, filed by her mother's legal team. But more importantly, inside that folder are the divorce papers. Derek recoiled as if the folder was radioactive. No. No, Vera, please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I love you. You don't know the meaning of the word, I said, my voice dropping to a dead, flat tone that made him flinch. You had everything, Derek. You had a wife who loved you, a mother who handed you an empire, and a life most people would kill for. But your ego was so fragile, your character so weak, that you needed some cheap groupie to stroke your ego. I tapped the folder. We had an ironclad prenuptial agreement, Derek. But you triggered the morality clause. Infidelity. Documented, public infidelity that resulted in severe harm to the company's reputation and your mother's health. You get nothing. Not the penthouse. Not the summer house in Aspen. Not a single cent of Windsor money. Vera, please, my mother froze my accounts. The board locked me out. If you take this, I have literally nothing. He was openly sobbing now, the great Derek Hart reduced to a puddle of pathetic tears. You have the clothes on your back, I said, standing up. And I suggest you hold on to them. I hear lawyers are expensive. I turned to walk out. I made a mistake, he screamed behind me, desperate. I'm human. People make mistakes. I paused at the door, looking back at him over my shoulder. A mistake is forgetting to pick up dry cleaning, Derek. Watching your side piece try to drown your mother and your wife because you gave her the illusion of power? That's not a mistake. That's who you are. I walked out, the heavy oak doors closing with a satisfying, final thud. The fallout was spectacular. I kept tabs on the situation mostly through Richard and the news. Rosalie's delusions of grandeur shattered the moment she realized Derek was broke. When she found out she was facing multiple lawsuits and potential jail time for her role in Georgina's near-death experience, she tried to flip on Derek, claiming he orchestrated the whole thing. The police didn't buy it, especially not with the hotel security footage showing her laughing and drinking wine while Georgina turned blue in the water. Without Derek's money to pay for high-end lawyers, Rosalie was assigned a public defender. Last I heard, she was crying in a holding cell, her luxury hotel days traded for a concrete bench and a steel toilet. Dimitri took a plea deal. 5 years in prison for aggravated assault. The swim coach who liked to mess with people in the water found out very quickly how little power he had in the real world. The hotel manager was blacklisted from the hospitality industry entirely. He was last seen working the night shift at a rundown gas station on the outskirts of Rivera City. As for Derek, it took 6 months for the divorce to finalize, mostly because Derek kept trying to contest the prenup with lawyers he couldn't afford. Eventually, reality crushed him. His mother refused to speak to him. She sold his favorite sports cars to cover the legal fees of the mess he made. Stripped of his title, his wealth, and his reputation, Derek became a pariah. His so-called friends in the elite circles of Rivera City stopped returning his calls. The Windsors made sure no financial institution would touch him. A year later, I was standing on the balcony of Georgina's sprawling estate in the south of France, a glass of vintage champagne in my hand. The Mediterranean sun was warm, reflecting off the crystal-clear waters of the private infinity pool. Behind me, the sliding glass doors opened. Georgina walked out, leaning slightly on a silver-handled cane, but her posture was as regal as ever. Her color was back, her hair perfectly styled. She looked 10 years younger without the weight of a disappointing son dragging her down. "You're missing the board meeting," Georgina teased, standing beside me. "I'm the vice chairwoman now," I smiled, clinking my glass against hers. "I think I'm allowed to take a 5-minute break to enjoy the view." When Georgina had fully recovered, she didn't just take back the reins of Celine Hotels, she restructured the entire executive board. And she put me right beside her. Together, with Windsor backing and heart operational brilliance, we had expanded the empire by 20% in a single fiscal year. We were untouchable. "Did Richard send you the latest brief?" Georgina asked, her eyes staring out at the ocean. "He did." She took a sip of her champagne. "And?" "Derek took a job as a mid-level shift manager at a budget motel chain in Ohio," I said neutrally. "It's the only place that would hire him without running a deep background check on his corporate history." Georgina's expression didn't change. She didn't smile, but she didn't cry either. She had mourned the son she thought she raised. The man who remained was a stranger to both of us. "Ohio," she mused. "I hear the winters there are freezing." "Very cold," I agreed. "Good." She turned to me, a genuine, warm smile breaking across her face. "Let's go back inside, Vera. We have an empire to run, and I refuse to waste another second of our time on people who belong in the past." I couldn't agree more. I took one last look at the beautiful, sunlit pool, feeling absolutely nothing but peace. I drained my glass, linked my arm through Georgina's, and together, we walked back inside to rule the world.